Mic check, mic check. What's going on, world? You already know it's your boy SB, and I'd like to welcome you to the 71st episode of Season 5 of the Roll Up Podcast. As always, as I've kicked off every episode this season, I just want to take a moment to say thank you to each and every one of y'all that's been locked in from the beginning, and I'm hella proud that we're here in this home stretch of Season 5 together. Again, there's been some new added to the content. I ain't gonna say what, but I am gonna tell you where to find it. So if you want to stay hip to the campaign, make sure you check out tsbe.org to be on the lookout for the new content. Be sure to subscribe to the campaign on all major platforms, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Be sure to tap into the movement, because my goal for next year is pretty steep, but I have no problem with aiming high. The goal for 2025 is to amass 100,000 subs on all major platforms. So if you feel really inspired, you feel supportive, go ahead and drop a sub for your boy. Also, be sure to follow the campaign via Instagram and Threads, and be on the lookout for that Season 6 merch collection that starts on January 1st, 2025. The designs are truly amazing. I can't wait for y'all to see them. And without further ado, man, we're gonna go ahead and dive into the topic of today's conversation. Ever since the beginning of time, there's been a system in place to keep the majority in the box. Within this system, there were many tools that promoted both becoming the 2% or falling in line with the 98%. Among the many things this system has taught us, one key element that has seemed to be forgotten is happiness. Although we have to pay our dues and make temporary sacrifices, our happiness and well-being should always be priority number one. When it comes to certain aspects of our lives, there are some cases where we are more than willing to sacrifice our happiness. Maybe it's for our jobs, our friends, our loved ones, and etc. But there comes a time when a decision has to be made. We can either A, continue to keep neglecting how we feel, or B, we can take a stand and be selfish for a change. No matter which side the coin lands on, there's going to be a consequence to your actions. The one way to be sure to maximize your chance of making the right choice is by asking yourself one simple question: will this make me happy? By definition, to be happy is the feeling of pleasure and contentment. And when making life-altering decisions, your happiness should be the deciding factor. When you make decisions based on your happiness, you'll begin to see new opportunities present themselves. Like-minded people will begin to make their way in your life, and your entire attitude towards life will change. Over time, we've been forced to believe that being happy is an illusion, or often referred to as a fairy tale. But in reality, our level of happiness dictates the flow of our lives. When you allow yourself to be happy, you give yourself a chance to embrace the world around you and begin to be overwhelmed by the progress that you've made this far. One of the other benefits of being happy is that you will enable your brain to do what majority of people are scared to do, and that's take risks. Taking risks that involve changing the game challenges most people beyond what they can tolerate. But when you are moving in a manner to benefit your future, you will adapt to this change and change accordingly. As we continue on this pursuit of happiness, let's keep in mind that we only have one life to live. We have to remind ourselves that we are not our family members, we're not our close friends, or our inner thoughts. We are who we choose to be. When you choose to be happy, you remind yourself that you came from great lineage and you can conquer any adversity at hand. The road will be tough, days and nights will be longer, but remain optimistic through these times and watch the fruits of your labor come to pass. I would also like to point out that happiness is an inside job. The moment that we place terms and conditions on our happiness, we will continue to be a dog chasing its own tail. If it's meant to be, it will be. What's for you will always be for you, and it will come to you at its appointed time. As we've discussed all season, all ideas start in between your ears. True happiness begins when you can look through the lens of gratitude to always understand that it can change quickly. This pursuit of happiness will bring you many disappointments, but even greater wins. Regardless of what hand you get served, it's your job to cater to your happiness. I'd be lying to you if I said every day will be perfect. I'd be selling you a dream if I told you that you'll be happy every day. But if we're going to be real about it, it's impossible to always be happy. It's impossible to always be in the mood to sacrifice what we want now for what we really want in the long term. The key to this pursuit of happiness, however, is to try to find a silver lining in every day. In order to find that silver lining, you know what it calls for? How did you guess? 'Cause you're pretty goddamn good. It's gratitude. Life is going to throw us some underhand pitches that we can crush out of the park. Other days, life is going to throw curveballs that we didn't even know were possible. Regardless of the pitch, having that gratitude lens nearby is one sure way to find that sliver of good in your day and crush whatever you're going through out of the park. I've referenced this before, but it must be said again. You may not have that seven-figure bank account yet, but if you were able to have $50 after paying your bills, that's a blessing. If you're able to roll out of your bed and take a hot shower, that's a blessing. If you looked in the pantry today and you were able to just make a bowl of ramen, that's a blessing. If you have the freedom to move about your everyday life without someone on your ass 24/7, that's a blessing. If you even woke up this morning and was able to move your arms and legs, that's a blessing. Those blessings that I just listed, we often take for granted. We all do. I'm guilty of it. If we're going to be honest, we all are guilty of it. Life may not be what you wanted, but the first step towards our destination is to be grateful for what we have right now. When we are able to count our blessings, we will be able to see that we have it better than we think we do. When I talk about the distractions of life, it's easy to look at what we lack and allow these feelings of inadequacy to dictate our entire mood. It's easy to get sucked into the vortex of comparison, and if we aren't careful, we will lose everything we have focusing on the things we don't have. If you're starting a business and only 5 people that interact with your movement, count it as a blessing because you could still be at zero. Yeah, your bank account doesn't allow you to go buy a helicopter and fly across the country and move all willy-nilly. But guess what? If you can walk outside and put gas in your car, regardless of its condition, it's a blessing. You may not even like your job and are working towards something more fulfilling. But if you get that direct deposit every 2 weeks or a week, however you get paid every day, it's a blessing. When we can be grateful for this slice of time in our human experience, we will see that all that we have is more than enough to help us get to the next level. I've referenced this before, but it's safe to say I can reference it again. Each level is like a video game. Each level you face your adversity until you reach the boss level. It may seem impossible to beat that final boss, but once you do, you're always given something that will help you get through that next level. Life works the same exact way. Each level of life that we grow into will come with its own set of challenges. If we can learn from these moments, we will be given the strength, courage, and faith to continue to press towards the end goal. Whatever that end goal you're on, the journey to, this is your reminder to keep pressing towards the mark. We're getting closer and closer to 2025, and I like to encourage you to take control of your happiness. Don't get caught up with the voices in your head that's urging you to quit. Don't get caught up in the he say, she say. Don't get too lost in the sauce, man. Whenever you feel that negative bug creeping in to steal your joy, remember that as long as there's breath in your body, it's up to you to make sure you get to where you're going. One of my favorite movies, if you haven't caught on by now, is The Pursuit of Happiness. I won't give you my synopsis because I'm sure that you've seen it a million times, but allow the story of Chris Gardner be your source of inspiration. With insurmountable odds stacked against him, he kept trying. No matter what went wrong, no matter who walked out, no matter the sacrifices that had to be made, he made them. And ultimately, that breakthrough that he was searching for found him. As we come to the conclusion of this episode, I'd like to encourage you to keep going. I get it. Shit can be unfair at times. But all of these moments of misfortune and despair are an illusion. I can guarantee you that if you keep your feet moving and your eyes looking forward, not behind you, not beside you, but in front of you, you will eventually get to your destination. You are a champion. You may not feel like it, but you're doing the best you can with what you have, and as long as you keep pressing towards the mark, like always, everything will work itself out. Trust the process. Embrace the adversity. Embrace yourself through the adversity, and remember that when you get to where you're going, it'll all be worth it. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Roll Up Podcast. If this message spoke to you in any way, please feel free to drop a like, drop a comment, and let me know how you strive to work on finding your inner peace. Be sure to check out tsbe.org to stay up to date with the campaign. Be sure to support the campaign by grabbing some Season 5 merch. Be on the lookout for that Season 6 merch, because that shit going crazy. As always, man, scroll something for your boy. Get lifted, stay inspired. I'm out of here. Peace.